Okay, this is section 5.1, Algebra 2, Operations with Functions, page 315. We're going to talk about 4 operations with functions, and you know them already. It's addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So we'll start with addition, okay? I'll just look for here. Addition. Addition for a function, if we have, this is what it looks like, if we have function f plus g of x, the way to do that is to simply add the two together, okay? All right, subtraction, we'll just put it up here. If I have a function f of g of x, I simply take the f function and I subtract the g function. Now I'm going to explain something to you. You can do the addition in any order you want, but subtraction, that's not true. If the f is subtracting the g, then the f of x has to come first, subtract the g of x, okay? Then we have multiplication, and it also can be in any order, but if I want to take a function f times g of x, that I take the f function and I just multiply it by the g function. Now you're probably saying those look alike. They do somewhat, but it is just simply doing it. Division then is just like subtraction. If I want to divide f divided by g of x, then I take the f function and I divide by the g function. This one I'm going to put a huge asterisk by it, because when I do this one, I must write restrictions for the domain, and I'll explain that. You cannot have 0 in the denominator, so we have to eliminate all values that would make 0 in the denominator. And I'll show you an example of that when we get there, okay? So we'll start with addition and subtraction. So given f of x equals x squared minus 4, and that's my and symbol, g of x equals 2x plus 1, find each. Okay, so number 1, it says find f plus g of x. Okay, so this is the addition one. So what it means is I'm going to take the f function and I'm going to add it to the g function. That's simple. So I look up here and I take the f function, which is x squared minus 4, and I add it to the g function, which is 2x plus 1. Change all subtraction to addition and do like terms, so I get x squared plus, and I'm going to put it in order, 2x, and then you see this negative 4 and this 1 are like, so plus a negative 3. So this is the addition of the two. Seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say there's always a catch.
Okay? Not yet. We're working on it. But you're right. There's always a catch, isn't there? Okay, now if we subtract them, you gotta make sure that the f function is first. Okay? So we want f of x subtract g of x. So the f function is x squared minus 4, and we're going to subtract the g function. Now this one's harder because you have to distribute this through. So it's x squared minus 4 plus a negative 1 times 2x plus 1. So I like to do it this way, and I like to distribute the negative 1 throughout. So I have x squared minus 4 plus a negative 2x plus a negative 1. Adding like terms, I get x squared. I'm going to plus a negative 2x. I'm going to put the negative 4, and a negative 1 is plus a negative 5.
Did you slide your board over even just a little bit?
Oh,
The projector's like right there.
right there?
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
All right. Yep, thank you for telling me that. Now, what's really, I do want to point out, if there's a subtraction in here, then you're going to still bring that negative through, and it's going to become a positive. CJ, can you read that?
A little bit.
Do I need to write it bigger?
Yes, please.
Okay, I will try to write bigger. Sorry about that.
You're fine.
I'm trying to fill the board up, and that's probably not the goal of this, is it? Okay, all right, let's try it now. That's addition and subtraction, pretty straightforward. Carly, you understand that? Okay. Now, let's do given f of x equals x squared plus 7x plus 12. G of x is equal to 3x minus 4. I'm going to write it like this, a little easier. And then we want to find each. We also want to find restrictions on the domain, and I'll explain that when I get to it. Restrictions on the domain are as if there's a denominator, so usually it's only on division. Okay? So let's talk about it. The first one, number 3, is I want f times g. I'm trying to make it bigger. I don't know if I am actually, but f times g. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to take f, x squared plus 7x plus 12 times 3x plus a negative 4. And here's where I distribute it through top and bottom. I do the first one. Uton, you with me?
Sorry, yeah.
Okay, and so I'm gonna bring this through here, here, and here, just the 3x. So I'm gonna do that here. So I get 3x to the third plus 21x squared plus 36x. Any questions about that? Now I didn't give myself enough room, but I'm gonna bring the negative 4 through all 3 of them. Okay, didn't leave myself enough room. So I put a negative 4x squared plus a negative 28x plus a negative 48. Okay, so like terms will be 3x cubed plus, let's see, I got a 21x squared and a 4x squared there, and that's negative, right?
17x squared.
17x squared, and I get a 36x and a negative 28x, so I get a 8x and then plus negative 48. Now, this one does not have a denominator, so there are no restrictions. Okay? But, you know, that there is going to be on this one. Okay, so we want to do f divided by g of x. Okay, so I'm going to take the f function, I'm going to divide by the g function. So I get x squared plus 7x plus 12 over 3x minus 4. Questions on that? Now, can I factor the top? Yeah, it's x plus 3 and x plus 4, right? But do either one of them cancel with that?
No.
No, so there's no need to factor it unless you think it cancels. But I do want to do the restrictions on the domain. You see this right here? There is a value that goes in for x that can make this whole thing 0. And the way I get that is I say 3x minus 4, and I actually set it equal to 0 to find it. So I get 3x equals a positive 4, and then I divide by 3, and I get x equals 4/3. Therefore, my restrictions are, watch how I write this, x cannot equal 4/3. And that's the restrictions on the domain. Okay? It usually only happens on division.
So that's your only answer
Yeah,
for
is
that?
that just your answer?
My whole answer is this.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Why can't you simplify the 12 and 4?
Because this is like a grouping symbol.
So it's a
It says you have to do all of it. And so I can factor it, and if one of it, you know, if this factored it and I was like x plus 4, x plus 3, I can do that, you know, Bo. but neither one of those cancel with that, so there's no use of factoring it.
Okay.
Like it literally have to equal 3x minus 4.
Yes, it would literally have to equal 3x minus 4, and you would cancel the whole thing. Yep. Good question. Good question.
Well, I meant like the entire thing.
Yes. All right. So there is a chart on page 319. Page 319. Okay. And it's 18 through 25. We're going to talk about some of these things. We're going to look at them. I'm not going to have this on the video. I'm not going to do the chart on the video. You'll have to go to the book on page 319 to do it. But let's just go through 18. Okay?
This on the summit.
This is on assignment. Yes. I'm going to do 18 and 19. Or I'm going to do an even and odd. It says f plus g of a negative 5, correct? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a negative 5 into the closest function to it, okay? So if you look at this, f plus g of a negative 5. I want to take g of a negative 5, or f of a negative 5 and g of a negative 5 and add them together. So I'm going to take f of a negative 5, I hope I'm saying this right, and g of a negative 5 and add them together. Okay, so look down the x column, and you see the negative 5? It's the first one. What's the f function of that going across? It's a negative 8. So I have a negative 8 plus, and what's the g function? 8. So I have a negative 8 plus 8 is 0. Yep, your answer is 0. Okay, let's take a look at 23. All right, so now I have h divided by g of 0. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take h of 0 divided by g of 0. Okay? Now remember, if 0 ends up in the denominator, it's undefined. You know that, right? Okay, so what is h of 0?
Negative 5.
Negative 5? Do you all agree?
Yeah.
What's g of 0?
Negative 5.
Negative 5 divided by negative 5 is 1. Okay. Okay. Now let's take a look at 27. 27. Okay, 27 says f times g of 0, correct? Alright, so that means f of 0 times g of 0. Alright, now I'm going to slide the book over. I think you might be able to see this. I'm hoping you can. It has the answers. Harper's going to start writing down all the answers, but you got to know how to do it, Harp. Okay, do you see the graph here? Okay, so let's take a look at, whoops, I'm over here. F of 0 is this function, the blue line is f, correct?
Yep.
So f of 0 is, looks like that value right there, 2. So 2 times, and g of 0 is
Negative 1.
-1. So 2 times the -1 is
Negative 2.
-2. And I'll write that in the space here.
That's just like the y axis.
Yeah, it's just where, well, yes,
The
it is.
0 is the x.
Where it touches at that x value. You understand that, Bo? Where you,
Where it touches the y-axis.
yeah, because it's 0, but if it was at 1, you'd go over to the 1 and go up to the graph.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You want to look at it?
Maybe
So you was negative 3, you go over negative 3, and go
All right,
up.
let's take a look here. Let me show you, like, okay, let's see that function right there. It was like this, right? And like this. I'll do this, try to do this as quickly as I can. Okay, so, right? Okay, and the other one looked like this. Okay? So, this one happened to be 0, correct?
Yeah.
But if I said, if I went, f of, it was multiplied, wasn't it?
Mhm.
F times g of 3, okay? Let's say I did that, alright? So I would go over to 3 here, and I would go up, and it looks like it's going to touch, actually, let's do 2, shall we? So I don't have to, 2 would be right here, right?
Mhm.
And so that value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So f of 2 would be, so this is f of 2 times g of 2. So this would be 5 times, and then I would go g of 2. G of 2 is 1, 2 is a negative 1. So then I would have a negative 5. So you go to the x value and then go to the value on the graph. You understand that, Harper?
Yeah.
Okay? You go to the x value, which is 2, and then you go to the value of the graph, and you give me the y value of it. Alright? And then you multiply.
What
Uta.
if it,
Yes, CJ?
what if it doesn't like touch a point?
You gotta kinda estimate. I think all of these do.
Okay.
Okay? Utan, do you have a question? Are you sure?
I think so, yeah.
You think so? Alright. Alright, so your assignment is, I'm right here, and Josie, would you put it up on the board, is page 318, numbers 4 through 10 even. Only do the evens. Number 13, okay? 13 is a story problem, but you just add them together and subtract them, I think, and then 18 through 32 even. Okay? And it is due, actually I think it's due Monday. Okay, we might start on Friday the next section. Okay, so you wrestlers, will you be gone Friday? Okay, so if I start the new section, I'll try to get notes or something to you. Okay? All right.